All right, let's try this again. Let's say in testing the screen locked up in my. Let's see. Let me know if you guys can hear me this time. Mm-mm. They're just technical difficulties. All right, cool. I'll say I didn't touch anything this time, but it was weird. It said like the stream ended on YouTube. I was like, huh? I don't know why that would have happened. Okay, good. Yeah, kind of weird. Yeah, YouTube still says that it's let's see, stream health. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, it gave me like this message. It was like, oh, it has ended. I was like, what? All right, cool. All right. If we can't get it to work, we can't get it to work. Not the end of the world. It looks like it's showing now. Honestly, I have no idea. Weird, weird, weird. It's just one of those nights, I guess. All right. Hope everybody had a good day today. Um, Obviously, you guys were chatting it up today. Today was one of those days. It's like, I don't know. This whole week has just been nuts for me. I didn't really have high expectations going into today. Just with not a lot of news. There was some oil stuff that we talked about this morning. I saw you guys in there chatting, doing some new stuff, which was awesome. I'm glad that you guys got in there for that. Today for me was kind of like a youth lacrosse day. It's like unbelievable how much drama and politics there are in youth lacrosse. I mean, I'm talking about like 9-year-old youth lacrosse. It's crazy. Just I can tell you guys stories at this point, but we're here to make, to trade, look for some opportunities here. But just absolutely crazy stuff. Like some of the things that people are pulling is just unbelievable. I was like, are you serious? Like, there's no college scholarships on the line. They're 9. But yeah, kind of funky. Ty, if you're out there, just think you got 8 more years and you got to deal with all this stuff. It's just crazy. Probably 4 before you start coaching. So enjoy, buddy. Love you. All right, as you can see, okay, we'll start with our wrap up, our kind of day wrap up. So dollar CAD was really the only thing. Aussie yen basically hit its ATR for the day, but dollar CAD was really the only thing that kind of stands out as saying, hey, this is what it was supposed to do, and this is what it actually did today. We don't see that every single day. I mean, obviously, pound dollar, 3 and 24 hours. I mean, dollar Swiss 20, it's about a 30% move of where it can go. Maybe 40%. Not too bad. I mean, pound yen, again, at 47, I mean, that's, about half, right? So not as much, movement as we'd like to see. Aussie dollar, again, kind of low. So dollar CAD was the big one. Again, really oil-based kind of move today. So here, I'll actually put the, so you guys can see it. Let's see. You guys looking at the oil numbers right here, if you guys can see, it is positive. Basically a flip. It was expected to be negative, and again, it was positive. So I know some of you guys did pretty well on oil today. Again, this is kind of an expected move. If you guys look at the history of it, again, that seems to be what happens. Again, they missed a forecast here. They were off. Again, this one was expected to be negative. It was really, really negative. The August 7th number, again, there you go. You guys can see where we're looking here. All right. Yeah. So there's our crude oil inventories. Again, we're not going to really mess around and trade with those too much today. So switching over to IG, let's start just pounding through pairs right now. Actually, let's talk about tomorrow. Going into tomorrow, let me take this yellow off and click it this way. You guys can see tomorrow is the core retail sales number. Now, the Philly Fed manufacturing, it's an interesting time tomorrow because there's a lot going in all of a sudden, right? Like 8:30 is the hot spot for tomorrow. Again, retail sales is a big number, but the Philly Fed manufacturing index is also a big number. It's expected to be way down from where its previous was. Okay, manufacturing is where things are going. Retail sales is what people are spending money on. So you guys can see kind of how those are bigger, again, bigger things that we should be focused on. All right. Of the two, honestly, I don't know which one is probably the biggest mover. I'm assuming retail sales is probably the one that is the bigger kind of driving force with things. But again, like I said, we can't discount. You can't discount the manufacturing number in there at all. Okay, so again, be on the lookout. If you have profitable positions on, think about really tightening that stop up or taking the positions off. You can always re-enter them after the trade if you really like them. But again, the nice thing about 8:30 trades are we can see again on the pairs tonight if mark off some 4-hour zones. If price pushes itself into say a 4-hour zone, that's an opportunity for us to take a 2-hour Nadex binary. And again, we're taking the 2 hours because the spread differentials are much smaller, 7 and 10. Those are the ones that give us the best chance to double, triple, 3 times our money on those smaller, kind of spreads out there. All right. So let's jump in to the platform. So interesting enough, it's interesting. You guys know why I switched over to using the IG charts, right? So yeah, looks like my Monday and Tuesday morning presentations will be jumping back to NinjaTrader. They want me to kind of not do the doubling up, but I'm allowed to use them for our presentations at night. And I actually do like the platform now. I know enough of you guys are jumping on it now, so I'll probably continue to use it for the night times. But for the morning sessions, you guys will see NinjaTrader being used again. I guess they have certain regulations that they can and can't do, and we didn't know. So yeah, so that'll be changing for those of you that see this, and then in the morning session, you're wondering why the charts are dark colors. That would be why. All right. So starting off with the Aussie, okay, the Aussie today, about 12 hours from where we were right now, ended up hitting our profit target. So we drew this line last night, this red, and again, it should not be red. It should actually be, no, not that. It's supposed to be. There you go, that one. Okay, there's your profit target. Again, profit target was the start of the move, first green candle in, right before the large burst, came back and ended up tagging the line. And again, you guys can see it kind of planted itself. Now again, you could have gotten a little bit kind of crazier and pushed this down into kind of this area here, but a lot of times it's better to do it on the time frame that you really saw the pop and the retracement on. So we talked about it last night, taking that retracement down. It did kind of come back pretty quickly and ran right into this kind of the wick against the wall, but it retraced all the way back down, fulfilled what we thought it was, and really kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit higher than where the price started before the jump, but not too much, because if you kind of suck this back, you guys can see we had a lot of basing around this level at 71.60, and we did get a pop, and we never really got a full retracement. It started to grind back up and kind of came across and then launched, but you guys can see this was a very popular area where price stayed, right? It based there a long time, right? So it kind of just reestablished itself, equalized itself. Now, looking at this one, again, right now, hard to judge trend. We had a good, interesting conversation, right? So today we were talking about different setups and when you do different setups, and I feel that it's important to bring it up tonight. So Ryan was saying one of the things that he's having a hard time with is, again, he's like, well, shouldn't I have done X, Y, and Z, right? And the answer is yes, you should have done X, Y, and Z. But you got to understand there are multiple strategies at play, okay? And I'll say if you are only trading one strategy, you need to follow the rules of that to the T, okay? When I go through chart school, I go through different strategies. One of them is the trend following strategy. So the first step of the trend following strategy would be over here to determine whether or not we have a trend. This one, technically, this green is above this area, and we have a pullback, right? If we draw it across, we can see it hits a candle here before it hits a candle over here. So it's technically an uptrend in a setup, okay? Now, with that being said, the body of the candle only went slightly above this area. Before that, it was sideways, so it's been a couple engulfed candles, and this is not really the strongest. I wouldn't quite say that this is an amazing bullish candle, right? It's green, sure, but the price spent the entire rest of that candle pulling back down, right? It's all this time pulling back down again, then continue to pull back down today. So not really the best example. And again, what I talked about is we like to trade, when we teach, we find absolutely perfect examples. And the reason we do that is so you guys can grasp the concept. But the reality is, in real life, you have to learn how to trade on ugly candles. This is an ugly candle. Okay, it's the first pair we looked at. Would I want to trade this one and break this one down? Probably not, right? If I was following just a trend strategy. Okay. With that being said, last night we talked about a different strategy, this parabolic retracement strategy. Okay. Again, it went up. It ended up hitting higher. It ended up hitting the wick over wick on the daily, right? Because it was such a big movement, a large spike up. And whenever we see something like that, it's that large of an ATR, blowing things out the top like that, we're looking for a retest. It's a different type of strategy. So what the trend is over on this side, it doesn't necessarily matter as much to me because the parameters have changed. Okay. Hold on one sec. My kid thought my phone charger was the actual mouse charger, and I was like, oh, the mouse just blinked. That would be fun with no mouse tonight. So understand, trading is one of those things where you have to be able to be flexible on your feet. You have to be able to adjust. You have to put a different hat on. Okay, another thing that is important for you guys to understand too is the three time frames that I'm looking right now, the daily, the 4 hour, and the 30-minute, those are set up for overnight/swing trading, not necessarily intraday trading. Okay, for my intraday charts, this daily over here, this is a 4 hour chart for me. This is a 30-minute, and this is a 5-minute chart. So these three pieces, they're totally different for intraday trading. So, understand it's kind of one of those things that, I don't know if it's just paused for me or not. I don't know. I'm getting oh, there we go. All right. It looked like I was buffering for a second. Just wanted to make sure you guys got it. you guys have to be willing to be able to make changes on the fly. So, whatever we see on one, we may not see on the other. But again, shift gears. Okay, you got to be flexible with it. That's why having different trading strategies is important, because at different times, different opportunities present themselves. Again, Nadex. Okay, when we're talking about Nadex and trading out of the money binaries, pulling back in for news, that's not a trending strategy. That's a completely different strategy altogether. So again, I combine multiple strategies when we talk about these things. So if you feel like you're lacking on one of them, okay, don't necessarily beat yourself up about it, if that makes sense. All right. So on this one, we were playing a retracement strategy. Would I be looking for an uptrend setup? Not really, right? I mean, it pulls all the way back down. It was basing. It was at lows anyway. Now, there are some buyers over here on the daily, right? You can see these ascending candles. Okay. You can see, again, this kind of popped and went sideways before it launched itself. But again, this is a purely news-based move. Okay. It was, I think it was just over 2 times the ATR on the daily. So large movement. The first thing you should be thinking of whenever you see anything like this is a type of parabolic retracement. Okay. Now, I mentioned before to you guys, I was looking to get an indicator created that would send alerts directly to Discord. This is actually one of the alerts that I was looking for, okay, to get them to program. And again, it's one of those things. It's like a MetaTrader alert, but then it has to like filter in through a bot into the Discord channel, and then the alert would technically pop up. But what I'm trying to do is get an indicator built to find one of these lower time frame moves where it will send an alert whenever we see a type of racetrack trade in. Okay, so you could be at work and all of a sudden say, "Uh-oh, racetrack just presented itself," so you guys can get back to the chart. So I'm working on that right now. I'm trying to get the developer to kind of finish it up, and then we'll have some more specific rules and guidelines and things for taking these parabolic retracements. So that's kind of what we're looking for. You think it'd be an easy indicator to create, and it kind of is, but there's more to it than that. It's kind of the syncing with the bot and everything. But that's what I'm looking to do, is so we can find these much easier. And again, in that case, if you got an alert that boom, there's a parabolic move, you put your retracement hat on, okay, is kind of what the goal is. All right. And again, there are kind of alerts and things and signals that we can kind of deal with on this side. All right. So with that being said, looking at this pair where we are right now, there's really nothing clean until we get up in this area. I mean, there's a little bit right here. Again, price came up, went over, and then kind of fell down. And, price has been at this level and again, shot up very fast and kind of retraced back down again and went lower and then kind of failed to get lower. Really, I don't like too much until we get back up in this, 72.20-ish area. But again, I wouldn't say it's very strong. I would still consider this more in kind of a sideways movement right here. I'd really like it to break out of where kind of this high was, this wick over wick, or below 70.84 before I really took any type of trade. Okay. Dropping over to the Aussie New Zealand. Okay, Aussie New Zealand had a very, very small play. Okay, we marked this area off last night, and we went about halfway through it, right? Maybe about 60, 65, 70%. We didn't quite go all the way through, and that's what we were talking about, was, kind of breaking all the way down. Now, again, you'd still be profitable in the trade. You're about what? Let's see, from the top of this area, you're up, 23 pips. At its peak, you were up 37 pips. Again, remember, for a lot of my day trades, I look for about a 30 pip price target, because I find that after 30 to 35 is where a lot of these retrace. This one made it to 37 before retracing. But again, it is looking for more orders. It is finding a zone here that's not bad. There's a zone right above it that's not too bad. So we'll see if it can drive its way all the way back down again in this trade. And again, remember, this one has kind of been tickling this upper zone on the daily, kind of pushing back down again, giving us Aussie weakness. And again, right now, there's a little bit of New Zealand, weakness. But again, understand we have this coming up in 14 minutes, okay? Again, this is going to be a pretty big mover, all right? Now, with that being said, you guys can see, this is a 30-minute. And again, we can see in the 30-minute price is starting to rally up, but let's drop down to something like a 10-minute or a 5-minute. You guys can see, where is this pushing? It pushed up and it's kind of sitting up in this upper demand zone. We'll see where we get, what happens when this thing bounces, right? But it has already come up and is kind of sitting right at the edge right now of a demand zone on the 10-minute. The 5-minute is kind of a similar situation, right? We saw price come up and then just kind of stop, and it went down and then pulled right back up to that zone again and pushed a little bit farther down. And again, it's starting to kind of break out of that, but again, we're still sitting up in this kind of the supply area up top. Nothing really great to the downside. I mean, down here is not bad on the 5-minute, but these two are kind of garbage, right? So we'll see what it's able to do here. Like I said, it's easy to look at this on a 30-minute and be like, oh, look, it's pushing up right before news. And it is. I mean, you could definitely say that it is. It's spent some time doing that. There's kind of the zone that it's sitting in right now, right? But on the lower time frame, it's actually getting pushed back down a little bit more. So just something to be a little bit cautious of. And again, this is one of those trades. If you were in this position, you may want to take your profit target off or your sneaker stop loss up into like the back of this zone right here. Right. If it pops above that, just take yourself out. I mean, again, you would have banked yourself 20 pips on this one. Yeah, it's nicer to get the 37, but hey, at the end of the day, if you're able to grab 20 out of this one and you protect yourself against any type of, news risk, it's kind of worth it. Now, this is obviously not a Nadix tradable pair, so you're not going to be trading this one Nadix wise. Okay. All right. So that's what we got to look for there. Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, not quite the same type of pullback. Again, we were talking about breaking below this area and trying to get this all the way back down again. It did retrace again. This one, you guys can see, it had this really, really funky candle, which I didn't like. Again, our target was basically where price is right now, right? This was our target. And again, we talked about, it's actually, we'd probably move the target, sorry, target would be there, right? Again, just a little bit above that area. And again, we hit it, earlier today. Same retracement. And again, it pulled back and it's back to the same level of where price had been before. So don't necessarily love this one right now. It's at a position of equilibrium. You guys can see that green is just outside the red. And again, we were in a downtrend setup, but we broke the anchor to the top side. Okay. And then immediately kind of cranked back down again. So right now, it is still considered a downtrend, but it's a downtrend confirmed. Okay, because this is basically it's almost at the bottom of that break. It just pulled back slightly. So, and even on the 4-hour, there's not really any what I would say beautiful zones. I mean, you got a little single wick against the wall right here, but this is just a mess. There's obviously this zone up here where this price kind of bounced into, but besides that, I don't really. The formation is not great. If anything, I would say it's going to probably retrace up into this area with some Aussie strength, which I definitely could see with the news forecast. Employment change is expected to be better than before, and the unemployment rate is not going to change. So I could see this, definitely spiking up if there's not a major surprise tonight. Okay, and we'll see how that major surprise goes in a few minutes. So go through pound Aussie, just so we have time here. So pound Aussie, this has literally been up and then down and then right back up again. So it's really been channeling back and forth. And again, if you're drawing your zones throughout the day, that was able to, you're able to grab this one. We had the initial push up. We kind of measured this one off this top zone. And again, had you taken it here, you would have rode it back up. It hit and collapsed all the way down again. Now, this is a faster descent than this. Obviously, news based, right? It came back down. It hit this bottom level. It retested off of that same level. And again, what did it do? It retested again, same parabolic move, right? And we retested up into that area, and then price kind of started to bounce around. So again, you could have played this one here, and you could have played it all the way back up again. Again, you never would have gotten stopped out on this trade. A little bit of a gap, though, would have been kind of like it would have got close. Didn't actually get your entry, though, till over in this bit over here. So again, on the 4-hour, it's just literally tracing back and forth. Again, I can draw the boxes if you guys want. You guys can see there's a lower box here. You guys can see the bottom box is there. So you guys can see where it's bouncing off of, top and bottom, inside of these two trades. Let me change these to purple just to make it a little bit more visual so you guys can see it. There you go. Okay. Again, just back and forth action. Again, fast retest, fast, and it's coming back down for the retest of this lower area again. So again, we get some Aussie strength in this number, which is predicted to be good. That could be why the price is pushing down right now. And again, that would take it back into this lower level down here at 177.41. Okay. All right. Do me a favor, guys. I ended up pausing. It looks like I paused again, and it just buffered for me again. If you guys can still hear me and I'm coming through clear, please let me know. Just write yes or sound clear or whatever it is inside of the chat, just to make sure everybody can hear me. Because like I said, I don't know what's going on with the internet tonight, but it's a little bit, it's definitely buffered a bit. Just want to make sure that everybody's good. All right. Okay, clear. All right. As that one's coming through, let's go to Euro Pound. All right, so Euro Pound is continuing the grind down. Okay. Again, we've eaten this entire area back up. It's been rather slow, though. I mean, it's been kind of, you guys can see this one had kind of an up and down type movement. It has pushed below the zone, which I'm kind of happy about. Don't know if you can see this, but we lost you. Did you? I can see it. Could you not hear me? The little gear is just spinning. Yeah, it did that to me too. Is it? Um, if you hit refresh, does it work? Let's see. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on tonight. Get that out of the way. You even switch servers. No sound or picture here for the last 10 minutes or so. What? All right, let's see. All right, just restarted the stream. Just restarted. Let me know if that worked. I have sound but no video. Yeah, I had the buffering, but then it released it on me. Yay, sound and video. All right, good. So obviously we know who's doing this. Okay, let's see your screen out. Okay, so we know who did this. Okay, if you guys know who James is, James says he would be late, but he didn't want to fall behind on the pip bits. Is that what I'm calling now? The pip chips. Okay, so we obviously know whose fault this is. Who is hacking the lines and slowing the stream down? It's obviously James. He's trying to keep you guys from getting pip bits, pip chips. That's what it is. I'm telling you right now. It's him because he's right behind you, Ernest. He's four bits behind now. So yeah, it's James. So you need to give him a hard time on Discord. Tell him stop messing with the stream. It's him. All right, so we're gonna see in 6 minutes what's happened with the Euro, the Aussie pairs. Hopefully you guys are able to catch enough of that, and again we'll see. Basically, what I was saying about the Euro pound is this one is really ground through this entire kind of top zone, right? Again, top zone is a big deal, right? That was a large selling area. It is pulled back. Again, it's done it sloppily. It's kind of ground its way down and it's kind of pushed through and is now retracing a little bit. So I'm really, really curious to see if this is going to give us some momentum. If it finally ran out of steam to the top side to start giving us a bit of a retracement. Again, looking into tomorrow, or this was today actually, right? You guys can see not a lot, and then going into Friday, not a lot. So if this starts to make a turn now and start to push back down again, that's basically the market finally kind of sneaking in here and saying, okay, we need to start bringing this down. Okay. And again, that happens behind the scenes. It's not based off a news event. There's no kind of whims with it. It's just it's just basically the natural ebb and flow of things. So that would actually be great for this pair if it was able to do that. Okay. And like I said, pretty ugly on the way down. You guys can see this kind of sideways. It was just dead, spike, and then kind of retrace back, and then just dead. And again, it just spent a lot of time in one stationary position. Okay. That's kind of the definition of grinding, and it's just been grinding to the downside. All right. So don't love anything about this pair right now. Again, I use this as a proxy for other positions. So looking at the euro, right? Euro yen. And Silent Hound Dog, just so you know too, if you guys look down at the pip chips at the bottom, okay, the reason some of these guys are getting farther ahead, like Vic is at the bottom, and Vic's typically here, and Lou is only at 14, is when you subscribe to the channel, it gives you 2 points per 10-minute bracket instead of just one. Okay, and you can actually redeem your chips for mentoring sessions on strategies and things like that. So that's kind of what those are for. All right. All right. So Euro yen. What did Euro yen do? Euro yen not only collapsed back to the downside of where we thought it would, but it came all the way back down and hit our profit target at the bottom, down at 118.02. I just want to what is it? 118.06. Sorry. So since that time, it's kind of just bounced around the same level. It's pulled all the way back again. This is again one of the big things about news. The problem that most people have with news is they try to get in after the movement in the direction of the trend. Okay, the way that we play it is we look for this parabolic move, we find out, and we get the confirmation entry on the downside and then or upside, and we basically run it all the way back to where the initiation of the move was. And again, you can see on the 4 hour, it popped, came all the way back down, went and stuck, and it's right where it was before the news. Okay, remember, the only thing that we don't do this with as often, or the fact, or I mean, again, you can do it, but just realize that it is more risky, okay, is interest rates, okay, because interest rates is a fundamental change, or obviously like an intervention, We haven't seen an intervention like for like the Japanese, the yen. Whew, they'll intervene and that thing just flies, right? We really haven't seen that. Nothing's really been in that position for that to happen with. But that's one of those other things. When they intervene, it doesn't recoil back to where it was before. Okay, it's just for kind of a news based, kind of numbers based news release. All right. So where we are on this one, well, we are obviously sideways. The green is entirely engulfed. It's not even close to not being engulfed. We bounced off this top side, which is a great level. It went right back down to the bottom. And again, looking down at this bottom section, we know this blue area is a buying area to the downside. So a couple things I'm looking at, right? We had some wicks here. We went just lower, but then we went higher, and we went higher again. So it's starting to build them back up in that direction. So again, if anything, I'm probably a bit more bullish at this point than I am bearish. Again, on the 4-hour, you can see this thing shot down. Again, it didn't quite shoot down on the 30-minute. It went, it paused, and, again, entry, but still a pretty sharp decline, okay? Again, from this moment here, 5:30, all the way down to about 10, okay? So I want to see what it's able to do if it's able to start kind of increasing above this, what our old target was, the 118.06. It's kind of stabilized itself and put its kind of piece in here down at the bottom. But, like I said, right now, again, if we, it is sideways. It is a downward biased, right? I mean, it's basically a downtrend confirmed with no pullback. So we need somewhat of a green candle to be able to pull back. And again, nothing here, okay, right? We are in a downtrend setup, but where's the first zone? First zone is up here. So really the first entry for us would be 118.39 to be able to take this to the downside as it pulls back, grabs some orders, and then starts to head to the downside. So right now we got a little bit of room to run. We got about, 38 pips, 39 pips. Okay, and if you guys see what this did today, it was only 32. So got a little bit of room to run back up into this kind of basing level. And it's not really even the best basing level, but again, that's the strategy. Downtrend set up here. Looking for a zone here, and that's the first closest zone. I do like this zone better. I like the way that I think that is a much better zone than dealing with this one. Okay, but those would be my kind of two kind of flip and base points. All right. Let's see. It's current, all time. Yeah, the all time is kind of funky. It says you guys have 39, but current you have 59. I don't know. I can't figure that out. All right. And James is just falling farther behind. And some of you guys are starting to catch him. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw it or not. If Josh, you're watching this replay, I love you, brother, but you can't be mad at me that you have to watch the replay. Okay? I can't verify if you guys are watching the replay on Twitch if it does count or not. I'm not sure if that works. If it does, more power to you. But I'm not sure if that's how it works. Switching over to the euro dollar. All right, so euro dollar finally broke out of that sideways channel. Finally, and it gave you kind of a fake, right? It kind of went down, pulled right back up again, and then we had kind of the burst, and it's kind of stopped again. So it's basically one candle that took us out of the channel, all sideways, one burst, all sideways. Yeah, news is out. It's 9:30. It should be there. I'll cover it one sec. I'll let it kind of unfold. Okay. Obviously, still downtrend confirmed. Have not had that green candle. At one point, this candle was green and pulling back. Most likely, probably in this area right here. Kind of an interesting area to get in, and this is something I wanted to kind of talk about, right? So, yes, this is a wick over wick, but with this wick going lower, this is not something you see all the time, but the wick went lower than the actual body, okay? In a situation like this, I would probably just take the top of the wick to be a bit more conservative, okay? So when this was in a downtrend, right? Because again, at some point, this candle opened here and went higher up to 111.92, which is exactly where we are right here. This was a downtrend with a green candle, meaning a setup, as price pulled back into a single wick against a wall and price dropped back down again. And the target would have been this gold line anyway. Again, it's kind of on its way to push down that direction right now. So if you grab this trade, it's awesome. I'm glad you did. This is, again, one of those ones that it's about 55 pips up right now. And this one only had about 8 pip risk. So, I mean, you guys can see, I'm trying to make that, let's see, right about there. Okay. And then again, there would have been your overall of what we're looking to take. It's about 60 pips total. Okay. And again, this is, if Ryan, you're listening to this, again, downtrend setup into a zone, collapse. Don't take this entire piece, okay? That's why I'm showing you guys this, all right? And again, you guys can see it. Where I drew this line over here, okay, the single wick, look how well that it grabbed it. What did it do? It grabbed the body and the top of the wick. And that's by grabbing the single wick over here. So you see how you can drop it to the lower time frame just to confirm that you had the right area? Okay, and then again, all the way to the downside. All right, Euro Aussie, because again, this is going to be affected by the news and what we're covering. You guys will see that the Euro dollar didn't move much. Euro Aussie, bam, spiked all the way down. Okay, and again, it went to the very, very top of this kind of buying zone where we've seen price hit here, price hit here, price hit here, and then it pulled back. Okay, so again, this one gave you a little bit of a green before the news came out. I expect this one to kind of continue to move for a little bit. With the initial reaction is in, we're only 3 minutes past it, so people are still reacting to it. This one is probably wasn't the one to trade for news, just because again, it's not really. It moved sideways. It wasn't super clear. Let's drop it down to a 10-minute and see if there's anything. Now, just see how flat it is. It did pull up right before. You guys can see this is at the 20 mark. It did rally right up into this zone, but unfortunately, because it spent so much time, I wouldn't say that it was anything. This would have been the best of the three to trade. As far as trading this position, again, we are in a downtrend setup right now because it is a green candle, but this candle has been all the way up here and all the way back down again. It's kind of just a mess with where it is, especially with where it's flaunting on the daily right now. So again, be very cautious of this one. Jumping back into the Aussie Yen. Okay. Aussie Yen had this kind of muted move, right? News was, yeah, so it was a good employment change. The unemployment rate didn't change whatsoever. So again, much better than expected, which you would consider to be strong, right? So that's why we saw a bit of a pop here. And again, the retracement came very, very fast. Okay, again, this is not, we're talking about $40,000. We're not talking about, 280. Got it. Oh, Ryan's in. Good. Ryan, you're moving up the leaderboard here too. Pretty soon you're going to be actually, Ryan, you are like 20 minutes from passing James if James doesn't show up. Just to get that out there. So again, a little bit of a spike. I wouldn't say anything phenomenal in this one. The spike total was, it's about a 55 pip spike. Okay, about a 55 pip spike. So nothing to be scoffed at. Something you could have potentially grabbed. Trying to see. Let's see what do they look like. Pull them Nadex up real quick. Let's see here. Let us see what we got. So price was at basically 71.50, which is actually in between two strikes, which is kind of a funky area. And again, it rallied up to 71.90. Again, middle of two strike prices. So don't love the placement on that one for this one. Probably wouldn't have traded that one. Let's look at the Aussie New Zealand. Okay, much bigger spike over here. Okay. Again, this is what we're talking about. Remember I said moving your stop loss in case the news goes against us? In this case, the news did go against us. It rallied all the way back up to the start and then the move up here, right? The single wick against the wall. So again, would have been nice to grab 37? Absolutely. Okay. Well, we saw there was a basic level right here. Price was at it. Okay. Let's put a kind of a stop loss here so we don't get stopped out in case the news goes against us. And again, came in as Aussie strength. Great. They expected 14. It was 40. Bam, it blew through the top, took you out of your stop loss. You were able to bank on this one. Oops. Crap. I don't know where I did that off of. I think it was there. No, it was there. Okay. So in this case, you were able to bank about 14 pips. Okay. Is it the best? No. Did it cost you money? No. Could you have banked 30 to 35 on it pretty reliably? Yes. Okay. But again, that's trading. Okay. Not everything's going to be a home run. And, at the end of the day, it's still positive. It's still green. Your account got bigger. All right. I'm here 1 minute after the news. James, I gave the secrets out. No, actually, it wasn't a big mover, James, but you were lucky. You were about 10 minutes from getting, 10 minutes, 20 minutes from getting, it's 20 minutes from getting passed by Ryan. And he said he was going to rub it in too. He was going to really just kind of grind the salt into that thing. Just FYI, just telling you, Nothing but love in here, Yeah. So again, rallied back up again. I like where it's punched up to on the daily. It did go into this area. We'll see. Like I said, it's got buyers below. At this point, I would like for it to grind up a bit more. Again, we got a little bit of time. Let's grind up into this area over here, and then I'll be looking to play some type of retracement. If it's going to start flipping already, it's gonna retrace pretty quick. It's going to be hard to grab. Here's a 5-minute candle right here. It's so funny. Look at this. This is 5 minutes beforehand. Look at the 5-minute candle 5 minutes before this release. You guys see that? This one right here. Where's the arrow? check this candle out. Check that candle out. 5 minutes beforehand. So where did you think it was going? Up or down? Right? I mean, it did go down and it stopped. Okay, it based. It kind of drove down to the bottom side and tried to pull orders out. It's kind of an ugly news trade, but again, the pair's not as liquid as some of the other ones. But again, this could be potentially setting up now for that retrace. This one didn't have as much of a move. Look at the Aussie dollar. I think the Aussie dollar was probably the better of the two to trade tonight. Again, there are 2-hour binaries on this one. Price on Aussie dollar before the news. Again, it pulled back down again. It started to retrace down. Let's see. Man, this one base pretty bad too. Yeah, so this one pulled back down to this area. So again, this would have been more of a signal to say, okay, with this pulling back, and again, it's starting to get kind of sporadic. Price was down here. I mean, it looks like it was about 67.50-ish. And we rallied all the way up to 50, up into the 80s. Whew. So if we were at 50, so it looks like this move what? Well, from here we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did it make it to 90? No. Wait, hold on. No, I made it to 88. So it was close. Nadex is always a little bit higher as well. Right now I have it at 60. They have it at 66. Wow, they're 4 higher. So yes, it would have jumped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 strike prices, and there's 19 minutes left. Okay. So this is definitely one of those ones. With that pulling down on the 5-minute, you would have looked at a 2-hour binary on the Aussie. Okay. I can probably just pull this down. You Nitix people don't look. Okay. You guys can see price was right here. Basically this one right here. Oops, I don't want to buy that. Price was right here. Okay. Price shot up, and again, the Natix one is about 5 pips higher, right? 4 to 5 pips higher. It went to 88, so it cleared this one. So we went from here all the way up to this one in that single news spike. Okay, and the way that you set that up was, again, looking at this on the 5-minute. Okay, and again, what do? We saw the 5-minute come down, and looking back to the closest demand zone, if I do it here, you guys should have been able to mark this. Okay. Here's kind of the area, right? That's the last time we saw any type of a pop. This kind of stands out. Price came back into there a couple minutes beforehand and kind of bounced back and forth and stayed here. So again, being down in here, buying something that was 9 strike prices higher. Okay. Again, even if you didn't get it, if you had the right risk to reward, I can't go back and look at the prices now because the volatility's changed. But again, that's what we look for in kind of news releases. That's why I love these Aussie trades at night. Okay. Again, big fan. Right. All right. We already looked at pound Aussie. I don't think pound Aussie moved as much. Yeah, same thing. Spike down, grabbed orders, and pound Aussie is not a Nadex pair, so you wouldn't have traded this one Nadex wise. But again, it did bounce. It kind of came. It didn't go all the way back to the downside, but we'll see. All right, so let's jump across to pound New Zealand. Okay. Current, all time. Man, you're right there, James. Or Nadex. Nadex Ernest. Ryan, you're 3 points behind James, just FYI. Just letting you know. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry. Had to sneeze. I definitely didn't want to do that in yours. So look at this one. You guys can also see what do we see here? Okay, why did this happen? Okay, why? Because the Australian market and the New Zealand market are very much linked. Okay, again, that's why you see this big spike down and kind of retracement back up again. Not something you would have wanted to trade on this one. Now, this setup as well. Okay, you guys can see that the red candle at this point is totally engulfed by greens, right? We do have a green, red, green signifying that it is more likely at this point kind of going upwards. If you're looking back, again, removing the action, taking the anchor, going to the left, it's obviously an uptrend. We've gone past the top of the anchor at this point, so we are in an uptrend confirmed situation. So not really anything we can look at. The one thing that I will be cautious about is you guys do see the 2 wicks up here up top. It's because of this 4-hour zone. Again, we've already hit it one time. We came up and we just missed it. If you guys look right here, this is a pipette miss, right? We're talking about 14 to basically 9 pips, okay, on a 4-hour, which is like nothing. So again, missed the second one, kind of came back down again, and it actually did. It did. We marked the move here. Again, you probably marked the top of the green, but even if you use the red, doesn't matter. It retraced fully on both of them again. That's why it's important. Now on a 4-hour, let's see here. This 4-hour spike, this candle was 150 pips. The ATR during this time frame, okay, let's just take the middle. The average is about 90. So it did do the 1.5 times its ATR. So in this case, we would have gotten the spike notice, and again, you would have been able to kind of grab this. Maybe off the top. But again, here's your red, green, red confirmation to the downside, and it did spike all the way down on the news back to the start of the move. So again, bit of a parabolic retracement type situation as well. I mean, again, if you make the candles, correct sizing, you can see that a lot better. All right. But again, it's more or less kind of I'd say it's more sideways than anything at this point. Trending a little bit higher, but you're looking for some type of breakout of this area so we can get some good readings again. New Zealand dollar. Say it ain't so. Ernest got bumped. Not everything is right with the world. I don't know. Yeah. Just scroll down so you can see the overachiever board. Yes, the overachiever board is at the bottom of the page, guys. But don't let James's salty tears ruin it for you. The overachiever board can be used to purchase things. Okay, right now I just have mentoring sessions up there, but eventually I will put other things up there as well as the community grows more. Okay, but yes, it's called the we're gonna call it the salty chips because James is just salty at this point. Salty tears, I'm dying. Exactly, salty chips, you know. I wonder if I could just change the colors and everything. What I need to do, you know what I need to do is if any of you guys are programmers out there, you need to email me. What I need to do is instead of having this kind of piece up here, what I need to do is I need to kind of have like a custom kind of like theme for this kind of, the overachiever board as James calls it. If I could how cool would this be, guys? If I could make this, and again, I'll just bring this across so you guys can see it, right? Right? If I could turn this, right, if I could turn this into a mason jar, how cool would that be, right? If it was keeping track of people inside of a mason jar instead of this purple thing, right? That would be the bomb, right? So if anybody's a programmer and can figure that out one, please let me know. I will totally turn that into a mason jar, right? It'd be awesome. I hate to use the word epic, but it will be epic, right? So again, no trade set up for me on this one. Let's go over dollar Swiss. Low dollar Swiss is on the 3-hour. So dollar Swiss also moved sideways. Okay, right? We did have some movement in this one. This one did have that kind of pop up, that parabolic, move. We did see a kind of retest of the top side. And again, it was bouncing off of this zone. It did rally down. It actually went below the wick over wick, which I actually liked a lot. I liked that it came up. I liked that it pushed through that after it hit it the first time. But then it kind of turned on us. So had you been in this position, you would have gotten out in this area, basically where we're at right now. So again, this would have been one of those times where it did not fully retrace, or it has not fully retraced yet. You would still be in the zone, but I'd be a little bit leery because you can see, look how much movement we have here. Not much. It's really stayed within this kind of tiny range. Again, obviously it spiked and came up, but it's really just stayed in the same little area. So if you're in this position, again, be a bit more cautious with it. It is what it is. I wouldn't say there's any trade set up right now. And again, with the lack of news today, not really surprised. And in looking into tomorrow, like I said, core retail sales will obviously affect the dollar a little bit, but this pair is a little bit less sensitive to something like retail sales. It's more based off of missiles, drones shot down, you know, protests. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know there's all kinds of stuff going on with protests, but it's not anything like U.S. based protesting right now. Now, if we suddenly send like, combat aircraft to go help the protesters in the Hong Kong airport, then that pair, you can be guaranteed that that pair is going to be moving. Okay, but I don't know that it's going to happen. Um, Basing action off this one, yeah, it's just flatlined, right? Not a lot of movement on the daily. Okay, going to dollar CAD. This has really been the only mover today. Again, this is more of an oil-based trade. You guys can see again, we had this retracement down. Okay, the retracement went back to the same zone, and again, if I extend this across, you guys can see it. I believe we talked about this last night. There's the bottom, there's the top. Let me make these red so they do not confuse it, or I'll change them to blue so they do not confuse anybody. Right there and there. There. Okay, there was your entry area based off of this zone. What did it do? It spiked. There was your retracement. It kind of got slow, kind of got slow, kind of got slow. Sped up, sped up, sped up. Boom. And actually, this target should have been there. Okay, off this pair. All right. So again, has retraced fully. Okay, off of the news. Now, the reason we didn't kind of book this one off over on this side is because the way that the candle was formed, there was no way to really determine where the racetrack was because it was literally, again, it spiked up and then spiked down very fast. And again, it gave us a red candle, but you can see it much clearer over here. And we were basing, we did enter the trade off the 4-hour zone. Okay, so it's down into the 4-hour zone, up to the top. And again, this would have been difficult with the Nadex pair because it did take a long time. This is why this is, in some cases, the one big limiting factor to Nadex is the expiration. Okay, the expiration can kill you. In this case, the expiration most likely would have, but again, you got the nice movement. That's going to get messy, yeah. All right, so where we are with this pair right now, on the daily, we are at the upper end of the range, the upper end of the curve. It did kind of show us that there are sellers up here. It did start to push back down. You're seeing kind of a bit of a peak. It almost looks like it's going to kind of fall off and just go plum, 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 and plunder back down again. Looking at it on the 30-minute, you can see we kind of topped, right? A little bit higher, lower, less high, a little bit higher again, lower high, and then we kind of broke below, and now we're at this bottom here. So we are definitely forming, and there are signs, and there's a bit of confirmation here that this is turning to go to the downside. There is a little bit of an area. There's a little basing here. There's a little bit of ascending candles. There's a wick over wick sitting here. So there are some potholes to this one to the downside, but going into tomorrow, going to the retail sales numbers, I got to say on this one, I'm definitely bearish the dollar CAD. I feel that the numbers are not going to be necessarily as strong as what we've seen. I feel like the market has been pretty negative lately and things have moved. I think they know something. I think that that's where they're preparing ahead of time. I think they've shown their cards a bit. I think it's going to be, like I said, I'm setting this more up. I want to see where it's going to be and then look to play a 2-hour in the morning on this one. See if we can get some fireworks on this move. But if I had to, take a stab at this one, I would assume that this one would head back to the downside by everything I see. It's too early. The news is too far out for it to already be adjusting to news. I think that's where we're going to get the movement. All right. Dollar yen. All right. So dollar yen. What do we have right here? We had this pop up. Okay. We're right here, 19. Last time we were at 19 was right here. We were just starting to pull out of that area. Again, this was the daily. What did it do? It banged in the daily. Wick over wick. You can also see it on the 4-hour. We came up. We were looking for a retracement. We were looking to head back down to 105.32. We kind of pushed all the way down into 105.66, about 30 pips from where we wanted to be. It did have quite a bit of movement, though. This thing kind of rallied back from that zone, right? You guys can see down to here. This is about 123 pips. So quite a lot of movement. And again, price kind of balanced, went a little higher to grab some orders, and it's basically stopped. It's kind of frozen in this area. If you were short this one from yesterday, again, 122 pips is nothing to kind of scoff at. If you guys click the little info tab here on the right, you guys can see each pip is worth $9.45. So that's quite a large move, right? During this retracement. If anything, drag, and be trailing your stop down. At this point, I would probably have my stop. Probably, you don't want to be too close in there, but I'd probably have it here. Worst case scenario. Be able to bank it there. And again, if we do get another kind of push below this area, that again, start, bring it down to here and then bring it down to this level. Okay, so if you are manually trailing your stop, you'd have this stop down at 106.17 right now. Okay, keep it moving down, right? Protect, preserve what you have, locked in for profit. But again, this was one of those ones that's off the daily, off the 4 hour, continuing to drop to the downside, playing the retracement that we saw in the yen. Now going into Cat Swiss. Come on, Cat Swiss, there we go. Cat Swiss, what did it do? It retraced. Okay. Again, we were talking about this one having a bit of a retracement. It did rally back up again. You can see there was multiple chances to get in. It got really, really close. It didn't make it as high, but again, failure to go higher establishes a zone. Okay. If you're looking for something else, we had this nice little piece here. Nice push away. Failure to go higher, came up and touched it again. That would have been your entry point. Okay. Ultimate goal in this one, obviously, is going to be down in this area. Did not quite make it all the way. Right. You guys can see that we, basically went from, here, and we kind of got stuck over here. But it's about an 80 pip move. Like at its biggest, it was 85. Kind of where it's at right now, you're kind of at like the 70 range. The risk on this one was very tiny, though, right? All right, so you're talking here about 10 pip risk, right? So if you have 10 pip risk, down to this first level of basing where we were worried about last night is what? 30 pips, right? There's your 3 to 1, okay? If you're looking at the overall move, we're looking for potentially that, okay? So we'll change this one to a dark green, and we'll change this one to a light green. And they look exactly the same to me. All right, so I don't know what that did. So I'll talk to Nix about that. But like, yo, what is with this? All right, so those would basically be the two profit targets. So again, 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio here, 9 to 1 risk to reward ratio right now, or right there. It's at a 7 to 1 risk to reward ratio. So a lot of different opportunities to be able to take a retracement on this one as well. This is why these retracements are great. It's just in so many different pairs, and it's something that can run. And again, taking it off this, again, failure to go higher here, right? But didn't really give us a great zone. Didn't really leave the zone, right? It just kind of went up and then just base. And, you could have taken it off of here, but this was a very clear breakdown and left the area. It actually gapped to the downside. Came back up and base, and again, take it off the bottom. All right. So, again, interesting things to note too as well. You guys can see it slowed down and started the base right around where this first kind of target was, which is kind of what was predictable, right? Would have got nervous, right? But then it eventually drove right through. And again, 3 to 1, 7 to 1 where it is right now. Eventually, the goal at the bottom was, basically 9 to 1 to the downside. 10 pip risk. You are locked in. You can't lose money on this one. Worst case scenario, I'd say take yourself out at 5 or 6 to 1 risk to reward ratio. All right. And again, we talked about this last night. Being an area that we're looking at. That's why we circled it. Like, what do we have here? Yes, it went off the 4 hour. Okay, if you did not take it blindly off the 4 hour, again, that's why you would have taken it somewhere over here to the downside. Okay, looking at CAD yen. Load. I just realized I've been on the platform. Okay, what did CAD yen do? It retraced back to the start of the move that we saw yesterday. Okay, again, pretty consistent with the pairing. This red was something from before. That was this area. Obviously, that doesn't matter when it got blown through. Now, again, this is when we talked about guys that we missed it just by a little bit. But what did it do? It turned, it retraced, it went all the way back down again. Last night, I marked off in here, right, that we were talking about kind of overtaking this. This is what we're looking for. Any type of a break in this area, we were looking to take it to the downside. And what did it do? It came all the way back down and ended up hitting our profit target. Now, this profit target, this one, again, we could probably, most likely we would have moved it somewhere in this area, kind of where we are now. Although if we would have taken this off of here, we would have used the red line. We would have used that area, in which case, obviously, you guys can see that it triggered, okay? Again, each his own, you're pretty close either way. But again, this was the box that we placed last night, talking about overtaking this off the low here. And again, just another retracement. It retraced, again, off of the yen, because this was the motion in the yen because of the tweet, okay? CPI and the tweet. Okay, so CPI has given us a lot of trades this week. And almost every single one of them bounced off a 4 hour window, or a 4 hour selling zone. Okay, so that's it with that one, guys. I mean, again, a lot of the pairs are kind of a similar setup. Let's look at the Aussies real quick and kind of close it out with those. Yeah, you can see it's still kind of just, kind of stuck in there, right? It went up and retraced and it's kind of slowed. Let's look at the Aussie New Zealand. Yeah, see, it's just jumped and kind of based, right? Jumped and based, on the 5 minute. Okay, hasn't done too much. It looks like it wants to try to grind a bit higher. Let's see the movement on this one so far. It's about 41 pips, so we're not quite at the daily ATR yet. So it hasn't really given us a full kind of like, hey, this needs to be retraced right away. This is an important retracement. Not really there. Okay, Aussie dollar. Let's see what it's done. It's probably done basically the same thing. This one drove a little bit higher. Still hasn't gone all the way back again. All right, and again, had you taken any of those positions, it's up at what? 67.72. Oh, I guess I could look over here. 67.73, right, with 1 minute to go. So it started here, and it's gonna close here, right? Well, this one will be profitable, or maybe not. It's dropping a little bit. So this one is definitely in the 73. This one, or the 70s. Okay, so it jumped. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It jumped about four. It closed about 4 strike prices there. Okay, higher. But it spiked all the way up until this top one. Okay, so we started here, went all the way to the top, and you guys can see how cheap the top ones are. So that would have been the trade of the news trade of the day. Okay, and then pound Aussie, nothing. Yeah, it's just kind of stopped. It hasn't pushed. So it's probably not going to do anymore. It's basically paused at this point. All right. So, with that being said, guys, that's going to be it for this tonight. Make sure that you log in tomorrow. It looks like Will is in the lead for 65 pip chips. FX Jones is behind him with 65, and then Declan is at 65 as well. Ernest is kind of right there behind at 63. And then we start to go, Q, you're right there. James is right there. Ryan's right there. Laura, you're right there. Actually, Laura's a little bit farther back, and, Wealth Builder and a couple of the guys that watch the replays. So, Lou, you're down there close to the bottom, buddy. We got to get you a little bit higher. All right. And Josh, unfortunately, Josh's work schedule changed, so he's watching nothing but replays. Also, any of you guys over on the YouTube side, if you guys want to type in chat, you guys are more than welcome to kind of shoot messages, type in chat, let me know that you're there. I can actually assign those pip chips as well. Again, I can manually assign you guys pip chips for watching. Based off your membership, so you guys have access to those as well. You just have to make sure that you're on Discord and let me know that you guys are online, so that way I can give you the appropriate pip chips, or as we may be calling them, the salty chips later on. Where's the pip chip store to redeem points? I believe if you click on it, like I said, mine is more of like an administrator role, but I believe there's a command in here somewhere. It may be like, let's see. Let me go to the dashboard, and I'll go to, I think if you guys hit like hashtag store or something like that. Where's my dashboard? I can't find dashboard. Features, career, there it is, dashboard. Let me see, like, it'll tell me the commands here in a second. Nope, that's not the store. I'm like, wait a second, why is it not there? Stream store. Open store. Let me see here. Can you guys go here? No, I don't think it's hashtag. I think it would be exclamation point store, maybe. There you go. Exclamation point store. Or if you can go to those other things, you can actually see what the store looks like. Okay. This is what it would look like. Okay. And it kind of gives you all the information. And again, I think you can actually redeem it from there too. But again, if you go there, that's where it'll give it to you this way. And again, you need 250 pip chips to be able to go ahead and do that one. All right. So, like I said, we will figure the rest of the things out. Available items. Yeah, there you go. See, Ryan, you got it to pop up. Yep, 30-minute mentor. Came up for me. Yeah, so what happens is on the stream, if you purchase it on the stream, it is supposed to pop up right in the middle and say that you have purchased it. So we'll see how that works. right? As soon as you guys get 250, you guys can start testing that one out. And I think it only lets you buy one every 30 days. So, but kind of cool, right? You should throw up a mason jar in the stream store. Hey, if James is donating, I have no problems throwing that up there. Ernest better be careful. He keeps posting pictures of all this barbecue. Hey, I'm gonna put some steaks by Ernest, ribs by Ernest. How do you get the store to buy the item? How do you? There you go. Like I said, as you guys get closer, you're starting to approach the time you're almost halfway there. I'll get some more stuff in there. But yeah, I think it's like, yeah, I don't know how you purchase it though. And it's coming in a mason jar. Heck yeah, man. Yep. So we'll do more things with it. I'll add more things up there in time. Don't worry. So. All right, guys. With that being said, it's 10:03. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go take care of the little one. Like I said, the little one has gone from I'm gonna take 1 or 2 steps and crawl mostly to nothing, but I'm gonna run around the house. She's also like a ninja. It's crazy. She's moving barriers. She's sneaking through things. It's just crazy. On that screen, it's saying I have 0 pip chips. Yeah, Ryan, because I think you have to do it. You have to buy. I don't think through the site just shows it to you. You have to actually buy it through here. And like I said, I'll get the directions on how you do it. You need 250, so you're not even close right now. So, all right, guys. I'm out of here. I will catch you guys on Discord tomorrow, and I will see you same time tomorrow night for our conclusion of the week. Take care, guys.